Press the button and watch your taxi come to you, an app that pairs passengers with drivers. Since its inception in 2013, BiTaksi has seen nearly 700,000 downloads in Istanbul alone, 5,000 registered drivers, and a service available in both Turkish and English, so even tourists can use it. Now the group is expanding to other cities and hopes its taxi rating experience, easy payment system, and award-winning 24/7 support line will keep customers and drivers coming back time and again.
Nazım, thank you so much for joining CNBC. Now, you launched the BiTaksi app in March of 2013. Talk us through that journey. How did the idea come to you?
Oh, the idea came to me when I had my first iPhone 5-6 years ago. There was an app there where it showed two people moving. They can find each other, so I thought this can be used commercially. And I thought about taxis, but at the time iPhones were just coming on the market, and the penetration of smartphones was very low. So I just put that aside for the time being. And later, 2 years ago, the idea came back because smartphone penetration was a lot higher, and I was looking into something new. I like technology, and I want to do a $1 business. So this is like $1 business per piece, approximately. Many $1, of course. My previous job was kind of boring, so that's how it came.
And talk to me about the numbers. You now have 5,000 active drivers here in Istanbul. You've just launched in Ankara as well, and you're about to launch in another Turkish city. Tell us a little bit about the numbers in terms of how many drivers you have signed up in those other cities.
We signed up actually 8,000 drivers, but 5,000 are really active because some leave the business and so forth. There are 18,000 taxis in Istanbul, but 36,000 drivers. So out of those 36,000, we registered 8,000. And we are able to give, in main parts of the city, except rush hour, we are able to give you a taxi within 3 to 4 minutes mostly. So that's a good success rate. We have just over 700,000 downloads, mostly from Istanbul. And 2-3 weeks ago, we launched Ankara. Ankara is a 5.5 million city. We have about 1,000 taxis registered there. So the business is just starting there, and we received a warm welcome from passengers there. Here, our business, I'm happy to say, is growing about 25% per month. That's how we're going at the moment.
Talk to me about the challenges to this as a startup. In terms of, did you need help from the government? Was that the biggest challenge? What was the biggest challenge when you were getting your start?
No, we didn't need any help, and we believe in the private sector, so getting government help also has its disadvantages, because then you have to report everything to them, and they will poke their nose into what you do, and this should be done freely. So although there are many government programs that help startups like us, we never took any of them. We just did it on our own. And later, at a later stage, some local investors also invested in us. But initially, I did it with own personal money. And the initial challenge was actually getting the taxi drivers sign up on a technology platform, because initially they didn't believe in this. They didn't believe that customers they're gonna get passengers through this app. And previously there were some technology businesses that tried to do something with the taxi industry in Turkey. Pretty much all of them failed. So they didn't have much belief this would fly. But we persuaded them, and the initial 6 months was the hardest, just like any other startup. But later, with our, we insisted on the idea here, and we persuaded enough taxi drivers and enough passengers, because it's a platform. You have to have enough players from both sides. And we got to a level where now in Istanbul all taxi drivers know us, and pretty much the public is aware of a service like BiTaksi.
A question on Turkey. And Turkey has a bit of a problem in terms of the language barrier. And certainly when you're hailing a taxi on the street and you're speaking in English, you often have that difficulty communicating with the driver. How are you guys going to tackle that?
Okay, firstly, Turkey doesn't have the language barrier because Turks speak Turkish, so you have the problem.
It's our problem.
Okay, but of course it's an international city and we should address that problem. And within a few months, our app is going to have some features helping you. Our app is already in English, so you can hail a taxi through our app and use our English version. But the Turkish guy sees the Turkish version. He comes and picks you up and takes you to the place you go. But now we're going to put some common sentences into the app, whereas with the push of a button, the driver is going to tell you what he needs, and you can tell him what you need. So that's going to come out in at least 5 languages. Very basic. Because there are regular things you talk to a driver when you get in a taxi. So we're going to solve that problem because we listen to people. Like there were some people wanting this, so we're working on it. We always listen. I mean, just to listen to our passengers and to our drivers, we have a 10 people department taking calls 24/7. We hire 10 people just listening to people.
When you look at companies like Uber, they're international and they can, they get kicked out of Germany, they can go somewhere else, for example. What about BiTaksi? Are you looking to go into other markets or are you specifically focused on Turkey?
Right now we're specifically focused in Turkey because there's still room for growth in Turkey. And when you try, in our business, if you try to spread yourself too thin, then you can go to many markets but be unsuccessful. So out of the 2 major cities, Istanbul is 15 million, Ankara is 5.5, in both we are the leader and we are successful. So we want to go to more cities and maybe more countries, but when we go, we want to go strong and definitely be successful. So we're going to decide on larger cities. We don't want to be in 100 cities. This business is mainly for cities of population of 2-3 million and above. Smaller cities doesn't meet the scale of the business. Of course, smaller cities deserve this service too, but initially we need to go to larger cities. So the number of large cities in the world is limited. And in most of them, there are already players. So we're going to look into how we can proceed in 2015. We're going to look into the neighboring countries, what we can do. But Turkey, with its population and cities, already is many countries altogether in the area. I mean, like if I want to go to 5 neighboring countries all around Turkey, that doesn't make one Turkish market. So first we gotta be really strong here, and we are strong, but we should be even stronger before real competition arrives, and then we'll look into other things. But let me add something else. In this taxi business is not the only way a business like ours can do. There are other things we can get into, like logistic-based businesses, some models we may experiment with. So our growth can lie in going to other countries, but it can also lie in some similar businesses we can do with the same model we're doing now.